Y'all ready? All right. All right, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Happy Pride Month to all of my fellow lovers. I love you guys. If y'all heard the theme music, y'all already know what today is. It is Tuesday, June what I want to say the 7th or the 6th, 7th or 8th. I don't even want to go there with the dates. But today is a little tea time. I wanted to talk about the Pose season finale. Um, I've been with Pose since season 1, and I learned a lot about this particular show because it deals with the LGBTQ community. And it gave us a highlight of how things went in New York in the 1980s, going into the 90s. Season 1 started in the 87, which was the year I was born. So they caught me with that immediately because that was the year that I was born. So I did not know that they were going to be telling this story from that timeline. Moving forward, I fell in love with the show from day one, and um, gravitated to the show because I learned a lot about my community, just the ballroom community, a lot about the LGBTQ community that I did not know, and I fell in love with the show. As to the finale, I watched the finale yesterday, uh, and I want to shout out to everybody who's over at Pose, the whole cast, the crew. Um, but today I just wanted to come in and just kind of express my view on the season finale. The season finale, they did a phenomenal job with the season finale in the final finale for this show. Um, I don't want to speak too much about the actual episode. I encourage y'all to go and watch Pose on FX if y'all have not seen it yet. But they wrapped this show up in a way where they tied all of the loose strings together, of course, and they told this particular story in a way where you were thinking that things were finally looking up in the end. Everyone was starting to get better. Things were starting to be better in the end. And they did a show of all shows for me, which I gagged watching. But I was sad to see how it ended because how they did the entire episode, I was expecting the show to end on what was going to be a high note. And then they snatched the rug from up under my feet. And I was humbled. I was humbled by the show to see how they gracefully ended. You can tell that they knew that the show was ending, so they played around a lot with the cast members leaving and cast members dying on the actual show. Um, but this particular episode was one of the ones for me where I was so happy that I didn't watch it Sunday night with everybody else, but I was happy that I watched it yesterday on my time and experiencing this finale. I went through the highs and the lows with everybody. I was in tears. when Praise Hell actually died in the end. And shout out to Billy Porter. I follow a lot of the cast members from Pose on Twitter. So I got to see their comments, and I got to see them doing their goodbyes and everything on the internet. But I felt like this show was so ahead of its time. That's why they had to end it with season 3, because this show was ahead of its time, having to discuss trans issues, trans women and trans men, having to discuss HIV and AIDS for that particular time, how big it was during those particular times, how that pandemic took a toll on New York during the 80s and going into the 90s, to see how this cast was able to keep it together. Even when they knew that the show was going away, they kept it together. But over time, you would see little bits of their real emotion would begin to play out. You got to see them really be real human beings. And I gathered a lot of strength from it. I gathered a lot of intellect, learning to love me, learning to love my community, black and LGBTQ, because I got to see this struggle for black men and black women, Latino men and Latino women, who were gay, who were transgendered, who battled their scars and battled their pain. They battled all of the things that they went through in their life on this show, to show what life really looks like right now, how it's so relevant and so real for where we are today, now in 2021. I was sad that the show ended. I'm still a little sad that the show ended. But I also know that something so good can't last forever. And I also understood that there was more to this show that they could have done. There could have been a season 4, but I don't think that those storylines could have been told even going into a 4th season the way that they ended it. So I have a great deal of humility and a great deal of respect for the cast members, for everyone who endured so much of what they endured on Pose. Watching that show, I got to see me. I got to see my life play in real time, having to see these struggles of these people who were young, just like I was at one time, and having to battle coming out to their parents, the fear, the shame that they took, having to be transparent in a television series that was so real and so relevant to my generation. I couldn't have asked for a better representation. I could not have asked for a better representation. But I was sad to see the show end. I'm very upset to see the show end. And I felt like I got to know them the way I got to know me. Not realizing that, yeah, they are actors, but they come from a place where I come from. They understand the struggle, the everyday struggle for black men and black women, for Latinos and Latinas, for white men and white women in the LGBTQ community. The ongoing struggles of wanting to be loved, wanting to be accepted, wanting to be embraced, not by your community, but by your family, by the people that you know and love, the people that you call your friend. So This episode of A Little Tea Time is very short, but I just wanted to come in and really just air out my feelings on Pose. I never thought that I would see a show that was such ahead of its time, that they took on issues that were so relevant. Having to see Praise Hell go into his old church home and make peace with the church. Having to see Angel, who was a transgender woman. She was a guy that started living her life as a woman, going to her father and asking her father to come to her wedding, and he turned it down. And just watching their stories, Angel, she was a young girl, 14, 15-year-old transgender girl who became a prostitute because she wanted a better life, and she had to struggle to do something to take care of her father and her mother. And when her mother died, she became the woman that she needed to be to still take care of her father. Seeing Damon, who was a black boy who wanted to be a ballet dancer, and he went through a lot of hurt and a lot of shame, being rejected by his father, being tossed out by his mother. They left feelings of, I know his pain. I knew where he was at those particular times. To hear Electra's story, to see her having to be also a transgender prostitute who was not only black, but she was, I think, Jamaican. And her mother also threw her out. Poppy, Little Poppy, he was one of my favorites on the show. Little Poppy was one of my favorites on the show because Little Poppy was this Hispanic little boy who was a high school dropout, who was a drug dealer, who was homeless, living in the streets of New York on the show. And you got to see him from season 1 go through this change of coming from absolutely nothing to season 3. He and Angel are married, and Little Poppy found out that he had a son this particular season. To see that they survived the 80s, going into the 90s, to survive homelessness, drug addiction, surviving HIV and AIDS. To go on to become just successful people, successful representatives of the ballroom community and the LGBTQ community in New York during those particular times on the show. It was one of those things where I was just like, I'm so happy I saw this show. I'm so happy that I got to experience what ballroom culture was like in the 80s, to see what these people went through in real time. Because it was so fresh, and it was raw, and it was edgy, and it was fun, and it was creative, and it was brilliantly done. Today's a bittersweet day because today is Tuesday and the show ended Sunday. But today is a bittersweet day for me because now I get to sit in the realness of, I won't have a chance to experience this show again, which I can because I can watch it on Fire Stick, but it's a different thing of now knowing that that show is gone. To see these beautiful people, black and brown and transgendered and gay, and even some straight characters. I learned a lot about me. I learned how strong I am. I learned how tough I am. I learned that even in the face of adversity, even in the face of adversity, you still have to put that best face on and walk out your door and be courageous and be strong and be powerful, even in the face of discrimination and racism and being torn down by not only your own community. Thank you so much. Um, it's blue, it's blue, DJ. Thank you. Um, this show was the reason why Coming Full Circle was written. Coming Full Circle was written long before, but it was the reason why Coming Full Circle was published and made public to the masses. I wanted to tell my story the way I saw them tell their story on this show. And I developed an appreciation for the show because they told their story in a way where it was so inspiring that you had to open your mind to this world. Well, if you don't come from the LGBTQ world, you would have to open your mind to put yourself in these people's shoes to see, yes, they battled through some shit that a person who's not LGBTQ would not understand the rejection and being let down by the world that really didn't care to see them live or die. It gave me a sense of purpose to continue to tell my stories. It gave me a sense of purpose to believe more in who I am and to stand up stronger for my beliefs. And to be in this place where, yes, I may not be where I am, where I want to be right now, but I'm not where I used to be. And I don't know if there will ever be another show like Pose. I don't know if there'll never be another series that could go so hard the way they did to talk about the LGBTQ community, because they didn't leave anything at chance. They put every issue on the line. They put every hurt and heartache and tears and love and joy and inspiration they could into this show. And had I have the utmost respect for Pose, because now seeing how life was from the 80s to where we are right now, I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine what my life would be right now without that show. I couldn't imagine not being inspired by that show to write my stories and to tell my stories and to be so blunt and transparent the way that they were. It made me see that, okay, these people have the balls. They got the fucking guts to tell their story. And they have the balls and the guts to live their fucking truth. Who are you, Jarek, Jarius Dion, to not tell your story? I cried. I cried. I cried this season watching Pose because they gave me so much hope. They gave me a lot of strength. They gave me a lot of wisdom and courage that we don't see today. I'm gonna light my black and my y'all because I'm starting to get a little. You would not imagine what another person is going through. And that's not just LGBTQ, y'all. This is black people, white people, Asians, Hispanics, African, Jamaican, no matter who you are. You would not imagine what a person is going through in their day-to-day life. Just trying to be strong to take care of their families, just trying to be strong to take care of their kids, just trying to be strong to take care of yourself, trying to be happy in a world that is so fucked up. And I learned that it's some crooked claim to be straight people that need to. Yeah, I see what you're saying, bro. Um, I take a lot of pride now. I've always had a lot of pride. I mean, there's a lot of people who know me. If y'all know me out there, y'all know Jerry is one of the strongest, bravest motherfuckers I know. Even with all of this in my face, it's all fucked up. But I had to redo my paint for this face because this color is popping and I'm loving it. But it takes a person of real courage to stand up and say, yes, I'm a member of this community. Yes, I'm black. Yes, I'm brown. Yes, I'm gay. Yes, I'm transgender or binary or whoever you are. It takes a lot of strength to take the type of mental abuse and the physical abuse that one has to endure to be in this lifestyle, to be castrated by members of your family, to have people become a victim of your story, of you coming out. I've seen that where people have come out and their families have become victims to their coming out story. Like their family was more hurt by them coming out. Which was totally shocking. It was outrageous and it was funny because I was like, how is their story, your story, their tragedy? Like they made someone else's story their tragedy. And with this show, I saw me taking back a lot of power in my life. I saw me taking back a lot of who I am and what I'm about in my life with this show. I gathered a lot of knowledge and a lot of will to continue to say I'm going to continue to fight for my community, not just the LGBTQ community, but for the African Americans, for the little black boys and the little black girls and the little gay boys and the little gay girls who they don't see hope. They don't see someone inspiring. They don't see anyone positive to show them, look, there's a better way. There's a better way. And today I stand as a person of more strength and more solidarity and more unapologetic because of this show, that I'm inspired to continue to write Coming Full Circle 3, Somewhere or Nowhere. And I'm inspired to continue to tell these stories where I can be real and I can be honest and I can be sincere in who I am and what I do. Even with the poetry, having to express a lot of your hurt and a lot of your pain in poetry, it was very cleansing for me, and it was very, very it was very inspiring to be able to go in and just lay it all out, just to put it all on the paper. So Pose, I thank y'all so much for that. I thank y'all for giving me this boost and this strength that we may never see again. But for the moment to have it, for the moment to have Pose, for the 3 years that we've had it. I couldn't have asked for a better show. I couldn't have asked for a better time to be living, to be experiencing what life was in real time then to where we are right now. It was the strings that tied my life together. And I'm very grateful, very humble by Pose. Um, Maybe we can get a Pose thing jumping off here in Shreveport, where we can talk about the LGBT community here in Shreveport, Louisiana, and how, because I know here in Louisiana, this is the Bible Belt. We don't talk about LGBTQ here. We don't deal in LGBTQ problems because we're still dealing with this the state of Black America here in Louisiana, just the state of Black Louisiana. So I'm definitely open to there being a pose for the Shreveport, Louisiana, or for Louisiana in general, where we can have these same stories being told, where we can continue the discussion. Because I would love to see this discussion go on. I would love to see Pose from California's perspective. I would love to see Pose from Miami's perspective. I would love to see Pose from places that we have never heard of. I would love to see those positions and see those stories play out. And I would love to see the characters. I would love to even be a part of it, to be a part of a show like that was so real and so relevant and so raw and edgy and inspiring, that is the reason why I'm here. Now, after watching this show for 3 years and being in this place where I've learned that no matter who you are, no matter where you're from, no matter what you're going through, no matter your circumstances, strap them down, bootstraps up, tie them tight. Put your best army fatigue on. Paint your face. Put your courage on and walk out your door and say, I don't give a fuck who you are, what you think about me, what you say about me. I'm here and I ain't going no fucking where. So thank you, Pose. Thank you. Thank you so much for making me feel seen, for making me feel safe and making me feel secure and whole in who I am as not just a Black man, but a gay man. So thank you, Pose, for just being so real in my life, for showing me that no matter what's going on, find a way to rise above the adversity. Find a way to stay strong even when you have to battle and fight for everything you have. And that's to any and every person out there, man. I don't give a damn who you are, what sex you are, what community you represent. So, in wrapping up this message, I don't know if anyone out there in the universe from Pose is going to get to see this. But if you get to see it, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Damon, the character Damon, for showing me to continue to follow your dreams no matter what you lose, no matter what you have to go through. Thank you, Angel, the character Angel, for showing that your beauty lies beyond what people see, that it comes from within. Thank you, Little Poppy, for showing that, yeah, I may not be the mold or what people are expecting me to be, but if you give me a chance and you give me a little encouragement, if you give me a place to call home, I can find my way. Thank you, Blanca, for being a a kind heart, even in the face of adversity. Thank you, Electra, because she's one of the fiercest bitches I ever saw on a TV screen. Besides Beyonce, she's one of the fiercest bitches I've ever seen on a TV screen to dominate and to take her life in the direction she wanted. And she was unapologetic about it. She had no fear in her heart. She said that this is what she's gonna do. This is who she's gonna be. Hey, darling, I see you. How are you? Um, Thank you to Ricky, because Ricky, he showed that underneath all of the strong, tough men, him being a black gay man, he showed underneath all of the strength that we as men carry, that we do have heart, that we do want someone to love us the same. Thank you, Pray Tell, for being a role model on that show. Not just on the show, but to someone like me. Creative genius, a person with that heart and with that talent. Lulu, girl, you a hot bitch. And you don't find people like Lulu, who's so rough around the edges and decided that she wanted to go back and get her degree. To Candy, the chocolate sister, transgendered sister, who was fierce. She was a force to be reckoned with. To Cubby and Lamar, I love you guys. Y'all was some bad bitches on the show. Um, their grace, their elegance, their style, their wit, their charm. I'm gonna miss that. Um, who else? Because there's so many different characters that I gathered strength from. Um, wow. Oh, to Chris, the guy in season 3 who became Blanca's lover, black man, educated, um, came from a very stable family. His mother and his father were both people of the community. They were wealthy. They were all a black family, educated, had it together, had it going on. And to see someone like Chris, a character like Chris, willing to go against his own mother and father for love, because Blanca was a transgender woman. Someone like Chris, we don't see a lot of people like Chris having to be so open and willing to put it all on the line. Thank you, Chris. Um, wow. I can go on and on and on about Pose. I'm not happy to see the show go. I was not happy to see it go again, but I also, like I said at the beginning, something good can't always last. And this was a really great show. So, wrapping up this actual moment with y'all on a little tea time I wanted to tell the universe, if the universe has anything to do with this message, this broadcast, making it to anyone and everyone who was a part of Pose. Thank you so much for this show. Thank you so much for this show, because the show saved my life. It saved my life. Not only did the show save my life, the show gave me hope. This show showed me that fight on for your life, Jared. Fight on. Even in the face of adversity, even in the face of racism, even in the face of being told you're not smart enough, or you're not what people think you should be. So thank you for that, Pose. Y'all already know that I love you guys so much. Thank every one of you for tuning in to a little bit of tea time with me today. And I am going to go, you guys. So I love y'all so much. Thank y'all for coming in today, and just for being a part of a little tea time as I talked about Pose on FX. So y'all be blessed. Y'all be great. And remember this one thing. A lot of us that are LGBTQ, we did not choose to take on a lot of what we endured. We did not choose to be where we are right now. We just learned how to make peace with the life that we have. We learned to stay quiet, keep your head down. Don't speak too much, don't say much, don't do too much. Try and blend in. And then over time, we had to learn how to be ourselves, how to be whole, and how to be healed from the scars that we take from being in this lifestyle. For saying, this is who I am, this is what I'm going to be, this is what I'm going to do. If you know someone within your family who struggle with their identity, with their sexual identity, who says that they are LGBTQ, don't turn them away. Don't beat them down. Don't destroy them any more than the world has intended to do. Because those same people will be your doctor, or they'll be your lawyer, or they'll be the cook in the kitchen, or they'll be your nurse, or they'll be a driver on a bus, or they'll be your son or your daughter's teacher. You never know who those people are outside of the label, because they're human beings. Developing a level of compassion and love and understanding for them, for us. It's important. It's important that we know that we're loved and we're appreciated and we're accepted by our community, no matter black or LGBTQ or white or Hispanic, no matter who you are in this lifestyle. We all want the same thing. It's love and acceptance and understanding. So, once again, I love you guys. Thank y'all so much for joining me for a little tea time. And y'all be great, man. Let's enjoy the rest of LGBTQ month, Black Pride for Juneteenth, and more pride for LGBTQ. And y'all stay encouraged. Stay encouraged. Continue to fight the fight for your life. Continue to fight to make a difference in someone else's life. Continue to be a force, a beacon of light for people who can't see hope in a world that is so dark and so dim and so battered. Let's continue to shine our lights and be lighthouses around the world, no matter who you are, gay or straight. Continuing to be a beacon of light. So, y'all take care. Until next time, this is a little tea time with Jarius D with the blue hair. Y'all take care and y'all be blessed. Welcome to a little tea time. Y'all ready? Welcome to a little tea time. Oh yeah. Welcome to a little tea time. Who listen? Welcome to a little tea time. All right. Welcome to a little. Hey. Welcome to a little. Welcome to a little. Hey. Welcome to a little. Welcome to a little tea time.